Trip! It's a trip! Go, 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 go! Go! Come on, Haglund! That's a trip! Penalty shot!
I'm Danny Malone. I am a New York sports fan at St. John's University. My favorite sports teams are the New York Rangers, the New York Knicks, the New York Jets, and the New York Mets. The New York Rangers are a hockey team. They're considered an original six team. Which means they're one of the first six franchises in professional hockey. They've been around since 1926. They've won 4 Stanley Cups. Their last one was in 1993-94. I've been a fan my whole life. I am a Ranger fan because my dad brought me up a Ranger fan. It's a connection that we have, and you're brought up on these teams for whatever reason. Either you're brought up by one of your parents to root for the teams, or you're brought up to root against the team that they root for. And somewhere along the line, for whatever reason, you develop a connection not just with the people that brought you along into that fandom, but you develop a connection with the team itself, whether it's their history, whether it's just the lore that surrounds the franchise and their history. You just develop a strong connection somewhere along the line, and it's tough to break that connection. I'm a Mets fan again for the same reasons that I'm a Ranger fan. My dad brought me up as a Met fan. However, the difference is I went another route towards, like, when I was about 7. I said, there's not much to root for the Mets, because they weren't very good when I was a kid. They were towards the bottom of the league, and then I became a Yankee fan because I loved Derek Jeter, and the years 1996 through about 2000 were the years that I really started to not become as dedicated as I am now to sports, but I was able to remember them. I can remember those moments. Before that, I couldn't tell you anything that happened, which is sad because the Rangers are the only team to win a championship in my lifetime, and I was like 2 years old, so I can't remember anything about it. So I don't count that. So when the Yankees, but 96 to 2000, they were the best team. They were, they had homegrown players, guys that you knew they would be there for a really long time, and they were winning. So it's easy for a kid. It's easy to understand how a kid who's like 5 or 6 would root for that, because it's fun to watch a team win when you're a kid. But I'll never forget the moment I became a full-fledged Met fan. It was right after the 2000 World Series. And again, I'll say that none of my teams have won a championship in my lifetime, because I wasn't really a Yankee fan in 2000. I rooted for them, but I wasn't as a dedicated fan, because I was still a little kid. I don't really remember it. The only thing I remember, I really only rooted for them because my brother and my dad rooted against them. The only real memory I have is we were sitting at a friend's house watching one of the games, and for some reason I brought a sign with me to the house, and I was just shoving it in my dad and brother's face. So I don't really look like I was rooting for the Yankees. I look at it as I was rooting against my dad and my brother. The moment I became a Met fan was right after that series where the Yankees won, and I'm sitting in the car. We were just coming back from Modell's, and I think they were buying the hats for the Mets with the World Series patch on the side to say, we finally made it and whatever. And we're sitting in the car in our driveway, and my dad and my brother are like, come on, Dad, be a Met fan, be a Met fan. And it starts, joking around. Then I think they started to catch on that I was like feeble, I was able to be persuaded. And so they keep badgering me, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll be a Met fan. And ever since then, I've been a Met fan. So, call the police, because my dad needs to go to jail for child abuse. The Jets and the Rangers are probably the teams that I have the most history with. And it's probably because my dad had season tickets to the Jets when I was a little kid. It's the same with the Rangers, but the Jets specifically is some of the best moments, best memories I've had in my entire life. I grew up going to these Jet games with my dad and my brother, and I'll remember those drives to the stadium for the rest of my life. I remember, you know, singing the first song I ever learned the lyrics to in the car. I remember a lot of talks, a lot of joking around that I did with my dad and my brother there, and I hung out with my mom mostly as a kid at home. So those Jet games were pretty special for me growing up because it was a full day I had with my dad and my brother. And just between the tailgating, the playing football in the parking lot, and the talking to the other guys, there's just some really funny moments that I'll remember forever. I mean, I remember when I was maybe 10 through 12, I used to take a plastic Jet football helmet, and I would do the Ray Lewis chant and the Ray Lewis dance with everybody gathered around me, and they got a kick out of it. They loved it. And that was pretty cool for me, being like 10, 11 years old. My brother was always the funny one that, like, this is my stage, this is my, The Knicks is probably the weakest connection I have to any of the 4 teams that I root for, but it's still a decently strong connection at the moment. Winning a Game 7 with the score that we had, which was 5-0, was like a gift from God. It would never happen. We never thought anything like that could possibly happen. And that, I think, says a lot about what we've been put through from our sports teams. We won one game, we won 5-0, and it was like the biggest relief in the world. One of the cooler moments about that was the Rangers won, and my dad just goes, "Celebratory beer, boys?" And he goes, "Yeah." And my brother goes, "Yeah, I'll have one." I was like, "Yeah, sure." My mom screams in from the other room, "I'll have one." So it's all 4 of us sitting in my dad's room, all cramped together on our couch, watching like a post-game show, drinking a celebratory beer, smile on our face. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is just a small inkling of what I'm in this for. Because what I'm in this for is the moment that I'm really invested in is when one of our teams win, any of them, doesn't matter who, is that moment where we're all sitting on a beach down the block from our house, and we're drinking a beer, we're looking out at the ocean, the sun is shining, we're relaxing, and we just start thinking about how awesome was that moment? How incredible, how amazing did we feel? And just realizing how close we were in those moments there's no words to describe how I think that moment will feel. And it kills me every year when one of our teams gets that close and doesn't get it, because you feel it. You feel like, all right, this has gotta be the year. It's been I don't get it. We have to have this moment. It's not fair for us to be pushed this many times with this many teams. It's been like 60 seasons for me of sports teams of getting close and not winning. That moment it's like forbidden fruit almost. So we can't have it, but we want it so bad.